Remember when Purdue made the Big Ten title game? That was fun. That was only 2 years ago, but it might as well feel like 20 with everything that's happened since. To call the Purdue football program a train wreck would be an insult to train wrecks. You went from making a Big Ten title game to suffering 6 losses by 30 points or more in a season. Actually, that's not harsh enough, because 4 of those 6 losses were by more than 40 points. This is one of the worst Power 4 football teams I have ever seen. They are horrible on offense, they're horrible on defense, they're horrible at everything. Everything this team touches turns to garbage. I get that you had one of the toughest schedules in college football, and that would be forgivable if you had bothered to show any effort in your games, which if they had, then you wouldn't be watching this video right now. The game against Notre Dame really was a sign of things to come. You won your first game of the season, and now you're facing a Notre Dame team that's coming off one of their worst losses in program history. Surely you can put up a valiant effort here. Oh, they put up something alright. They put up a 66-7 loss. At home. Somehow, that wasn't their worst loss of the season though. But don't worry, we'll get to that soon. In the meantime, let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Ryan Walters, you are the worst coach I have seen in college football since Chad Morris at Arkansas. Someone that doesn't even watch college football can look at how you have coached this Purdue team for as little as 5 seconds and be able to come to the conclusion that you are a horrible coach. Your offense would be just as effective if you just took a knee on every play. Your defense defends worse than an 80-year-old's immune system against shingles. By the way, weren't you hired in the first place because you did a great job as Illinois' defensive coordinator? I get that coordinators aren't guaranteed to be good coaches, but this is beyond laughable. It's clear from his everything is fine mentality that he didn't give a shit. And you wonder why Purdue players played with such little effort. Who would want to play for a coach who shows less anger on the sidelines than Mr. Rogers? Speaking of giving up on your coach, let's talk about the magnum opus that was Purdue's final game of the season. Playing your biggest rival in Indiana, who's having their best season in program history. A win against you guys that would seal their spot in the college football playoffs. How do you respond against such a challenge? Well, you only suffer your worst loss in program history. 66-0. Indiana had 1 less point than Purdue had total yards for the game. And you thought the Notre Dame game was bad? Folks, this is what we like to call rock bottom. And when you're at rock bottom, you have to find a light at the end of the tunnel. For Purdue's sake, they found just that. Because earlier today, Ryan Walters was fired. A 5-19 record, finishing his tenure off with the worst season in the history of the program. Good fucking riddance. So what's the fallout of this? Well, it's anything but sunflowers and roses for Purdue. It's going to be very tough to find a coach that would want to coach this program, and you might have to do some serious dumpster diving. But on the bright side, it can't get worse than Ryan Walters. A head coach so awful, it made Drew Brees become a Texas A&M fan, and your 2025 recruiting class is worse than Kent State. A team that went 0-12 and whom their head coach got busted for gambling. Yeah, I think it's a good bet to say that Purdue will remain a basketball school.